Hey, this is Jay.
And this is Chelsea.
Welcome to the Shifting Perceptions podcast.
We are bringing you inspiration to live a more creative lifestyle because our favorite people are the ones that choose the path less traveled. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 31 of the Shifting Perceptions podcast. This is Chelsea Alders. Guys, this one is a really special one for us. Not only are we huge fans of Matt's, but over the past 10 to 12 years has become a dear friend and someone that we have literally been around the earth and back with. We've known him through so many phases, so digging into this current phase of sobriety, parenthood, and finally seeing him jump a bit deeper into his solo career and the new directions he is planning on going on all fronts is so fun to explore as friends and fans. In this interview, we laugh a lot, talk about what life has been like on the road as bass player, rhythm guitarist, backing vocals, and harmonica to the eclectic Donavon Frankenreiter, and how he noticed addiction showing up in his life and what put him over the edge and made him try out sobriety. Grundy is one of those gentle giants you cannot help but fall in love with. We will always meet in the middle on topics like jazz, poetry, Sam Harris, and self-awareness. But realizing that he's also a ridiculous musician on top of the rest is motivating and humbling. I think if you ask Grundy, he would say he's just along for the ride. But when you hear all he has on his mind and all he is up to, he is far from that label of a backup musician. We adore you, Grundy. I hope everyone loves him like we do.
Hey, everyone. This is Jay Alders. If you haven't done so already, would you click subscribe, please, on your podcast app at this moment? So I am an artist. I paint pretty pictures for a living. Yes, it's true. And if you head to jalders.com, you can check out what I do. And if you're so inclined, you can get a print for yourself or a gift for someone. I have apparel. I have art on canvas. I have posters. I even have sandals and beach towels. That's right. So jalders.com, check it out. This week, I'm going to be releasing some new matted prints. And if you go to the website, check out the shiny new page that I made. There's a button up top for resources, which has a lot of my favorite things. So my favorite books for artists, for entrepreneurs, a lot of apps and different tools that I use, tricks of the trade, so to say. So jalders.com/resources, and I have some new blogs up also for my artist and creative people out there that want some tips. So Chelsea is a birth doula. She helps babies. She's a baby helper, as our children say. And you can check her out at ommamasdoulas.com.
Let's jump in.
Yo, brother.
Hey, what's happening?
Hi.
How are you guys?
Dude, we're good.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I finally got some good internet out here in the desert, so I'm like, I'm a new man.
All right. Are you home?
Yeah.
That's weird.
He's in the desert. Where else would he be?
It's like super weird.
Yeah.
I don't really.
Yeah.
Desert
You
man.
could
Back
be
in my
anywhere.
little hobbit hole.
Oh my
right.
God.
When did you get back?
I've been back for 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks. And been working every single day since I've been back, but I'm home at least.
Yeah, working like gigs or working at the studio?
Studio. Yeah. I had a lot of work pile up, and a lot of people are being patient with me, which is cool.
That's nice.
That's kind of like, are we on? Are we recording this yet?
Whenever we sound like we're saying something cool, we start.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what the beauty of post-production.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Man, I'm right there with you. I'm a post-production dude. But anyway.
Yeah, me too nowadays. I'm pretty much an audio engineer.
Man.
Jay thinks he's such a badass with his audio stuff.
You know how it goes, man. It's like, whew, you'd go down that rabbit hole.
Dude, yeah. I mean, that's my whole life, bro.
We so get you now, Grundy.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
so what was I talking about?
About gay porn, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Hey, man, get ready for a lot of that, too. My head. I'm like...
Yeah,
I'm like wrangling.
What's going on? You sent me that
wrangling.
text about something like your head's in a weird spot.
We were a little
or
nervous.
Oh,
tripping out, or...
I'm not doing anything. It's not anything out of the ordinary. I'm at the 5-month spot in sobriety.
Okay.
I'm just dealing with insane amounts of emotional shit.
Okay.
You know?
Wow. Okay.
And I don't really know. Some people have. It's different for everybody. This whole decision and this whole journey is. Some people have an easy time with it. Some people just, they're not okay for years.
Right.
So is this a permanent thing for you? Like, I figured this was going to be a temporary.
Well, yeah. So that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
But like now I'm just like, now I'm kind of getting stubborn about it because it's like, you know what, I'm going to have to, I've told myself that I'm going to have to I need to become as content with myself as I was before without it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
At least that.
So,
you know, so
yeah, I get that.
And I don't know what that entails. I don't know how long that's going to take, you know?
So I'm gonna ask you this. I was gonna save this for much later when it was more appropriate. But so do you have or have had like do you consider yourself OCD? Because I feel like I definitely have or had that, and I have this thing where like within like a blink of an eye, I can completely switch or want to switch whatever I'm doing, even if it's like something I'm very used to. Like for you, I know you go through these like severe phases of like, I drink all the time. I drink never. I take these oils and tinctures. I never take oils and tinctures. Yeah, I'm vegan. I'm not vegan. I do 50 push-ups a day. I don't do any push-ups. Like you're very much like binary. What do you attribute that to?
Hey, first of all, bro, I've never done 50 push-ups a day. It's more like 500.
Oh, okay. Sorry, bro. All right. Sorry, Rambo.
Hey, if you want to talk about extremes, we'll talk about, you know. Well, I don't know what it is, man. I have a friend that always sends me little texts when she sees I'm doing new things, and she always like it'll be like something like, and the pendulum swings, something like that. This little text because she's watching me online and seeing my little trip.
Yeah,
and you know, I like to think of it as growing and evolving, I guess, because it's what it feels like.
Right.
You know, like I'm trying to do all these different things, and then I get stoked on them because I feel their benefits, but then for whatever reason, I can't stay there.
Yeah, the little demon on your shoulder is like, come back.
Maybe. I mean, with the things that are obviously bad that I get into, sure.
Yeah.
You know, but like with the diet thing where I felt really great on a lot of different diets now, it's more like maybe I'm just addicted to trying different stuff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this though, like since I've quit drinking, I'm the most important thing for me each day is to not do that. So my diet's kind of gone out of whack a little bit because my sugar intake when you're drinking, I mean, there's a lot of sugar that goes on in beer, like especially like the way it metabolizes and stuff. Yeah. So when I first quit drinking, I forget where we were. I think we were in Australia, and dude, I was like squirreling, like cheeks full of gummy bears. I was like, I mean, my teeth were starting to hurt and stuff, and Donovan thought it was funny, so he'd go get like a big bag of them and throw them at me.
Oh, he's just like,
He's like, here you go, Grundy.
Such an instigator,
and so I went on this sugar, and I'm not a sweets guy, you know, like normally.
Right.
But man, and I talked to my buddy, Doc Carter, who's a musician and also a doctor, and he told me that you just got to give your body time to to adjust its metabolism.
Right.
You know? So, and it'll go away, and it has gone away. You know, just kind of, I didn't need to be slamming gummy bears.
So, is this like a personal challenge thing, or more of a health thing? Like, which one of these are more driving forces for you?
Well, there's another aspect too, which is my daughter.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
Like I feel like I can rewrite her future through this.
Oh man, yeah.
You know, like I grew up with a lot of alcoholics around me. You know, and like. And it was probably like the only hard thing about my childhood. Yeah. Because I had a good one, you know? And so I kind of think like, maybe I can, you know, make her not have to deal with that.
Right.
And that's important to me. And then another thing too is like, when she was born, I was like, okay, I'm going to cut back because I'm going to need to, you know, because dude, I was drinking a lot.
Yeah, we saw.
Dude. I mean, it was like if I could make it to 10 in the morning without cracking an IPA, I was like, yeah, you know.
Dude, I've witnessed you at your peaks, like with this, and
no, because it never gets as bad as it does on the road as it does at home.
Well, no, I said I witnessed it
more at home on the road.
No, he said it's more on the road. And then
he said it's harder.
No, sorry, I drink twice as much at home.
Oh, you did?
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Really?
That is like impressive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I'd be dead.
I know. And you know what's crazy is I made a lot of friends in the craft beer industry that have breweries and stuff down in Orange County. So for a while when I was living down there, like I would just roll in. I was like Norm, and they'd be giving me shit for free. So I went completely off the rails when I was living down there. But I mean, I'm pretty much like I've discovered that I'm like their target demographic. Like the whole craft beer scene, boom, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
You know, like that shit just works for me for whatever reason. You know?
Plus, you're like 8 feet tall, so you have a lot of volume.
Yeah, and I can put it down, man.
They just see dollar signs when you walk in the door. They're like, oh, it's going to take just 10 just to get him warmed up. Yeah.
Get one each of the XX t-shirts out, you know, get them a growler, you know.
So did you hit rock bottom? Like, what was the moment?
No, well, okay, so this is what happened. So she was born, and I did cut back. Now, I don't think that Rhonda would, well, you know what? Maybe she would. I'll ask her about this, and you could take this part out later. But she had a little bit of a postpartum depression thing happen, which I talked to Chelsea about before.
Yeah.
And so she was kind of down to the count for a little while. And so I kind of had to step up more than I thought I was going to have to, you know?
Yeah.
So I got, and I was all about it, you know, and I understood what was going on. And so I stopped drinking. But I would, you know, if I got a day off or something, which I did, you know, grandma would come or whatever. Well, then I would let myself, you know, get all messed up that day or whatever. And dude,
because that was your way to relax. Like that was like, okay, because that's the only way you really knew to relax, right? Like it was like, oh, this is what I do.
Like, you know, I was still, I hadn't quit. I couldn't be getting hammered and then waking up at 3 a.m. and changing a diaper.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Right.
You know, like I had to make this happen. And I wanted to too. It's not like it was hard because I mean, I had this little angel I had to take care of. It was amazing, you know, obviously, but on those days when I would let myself go, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know, and then like, it's like, I make this joke a lot. It's like, I waited till I was almost 40 and a father before I started like passing out in the yard in the dirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
More common than you'd realize, I think, that people wait until then.
Dude. Well, and then so it would go like, so I would do that like on a Saturday, and then I'd be like, oh man, I feel horrible Sunday. Okay. And then back into it for the week. And then, you know, I think that there was one weekend where somebody was going to take the baby or there was help coming for like several days. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to be able to drink on Thursday and drink through the weekend. Well, that weekend didn't go well. You know, it was like, I mean, you know, I'm really surprised. Like the schedule that I was on was like, you know, because I was smoking a lot of pot at the time too, which is another thing that like comes and goes in my life. You know?
Are you cutting that out that as well? Like, are you still smoking?
Yeah, man, I don't take anything.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so you're
you know, because those two things go hand in hand.
Yes, for a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. And also for me to have fun smoking pot, I have to already be kind of drunk.
Okay.
I can't just go like smoke pot. I'll probably, I think I need the alcohol to kind of like mellow me out and enough to where I'm not going to have a panic attack from smoking this
right.
in California.
Can we talk about the creative side of that? Because I'm I think I'm a lot like you in the fact that like before kids, drinking, smoking, other stuff, you know, bring it on. And then as soon as Chelsea got pregnant, I kind of gave myself this new project of like, okay, from now on, I'll not drink anymore, or I'll drink very rarely, and I'll hardly smoke ever. And it was important to me for a lot of the similar reasons. But then the thing that is constantly a struggle, or not constantly, but an ongoing project for me, is how to like tap into that creative zone where you're not filtered, where you're not censoring your visions. Like, how does that impact your ability to create? Because you're coming out with a new album, you're constantly needing to tap into that place. How does that impact you?
Well, so check this out, man. It was a problem for a way shorter time than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, it was difficult for like, I mean, the cravings and that type of stuff, that's the hard part. But readjusting to be able to, you know, the other thing is getting on stage not hammered was like something that was a problem at first. But like, you know, I only had 4 shows where it was uncomfortable, and then I started having the best shows in my life. You know, and with the creative thing, it was like I had 3 or 4 sessions in the studio where I couldn't get anything going, and then I knocked out a record in a week and a half.
Wow! Holy shit!
Yeah, so like that's a farce.
Did it feel the same for you? Like, what was the creative process?
Totally.
Like?
The zone is the zone.
Yeah.
just because if you get high and get into the zone, you're like feeling it in a different way. It doesn't mean that the zone isn't going to be available for you
Totally.
when you're sober.
I find that like drugs or alcohol just lets it last longer, where you might, if I meditate or if I get in that place, I can be snapped out of it quicker, whereas a substance will just push you in it a lot of times too much, like where your actions, your moves and everything will become sloppy or not thought out.
Well, that's exactly it, dude. Because so maybe you won't get that little window of the zone or whatever they're called. Like, I guess that's the new hip term for it, but like the windows will be shorter when you're sober, fine. But when you're in it sober, you're going to navigate it better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Make better moves. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And then stuff comes out better. It just does. Your attention to detail is better.
Yep.
So what do you say to people, Grundy, that are coming up to you and kind of opening up and just being like, dude, I can't write music if I'm not drunk? Like, what do you say? Do you tell them that? Or do you say
there's no way that can be true. Because it's not the alcohol or the weed that's writing the music.
Right.
It's just not.
You just have to tap in a different way. So how can you get to it?
If anything, it's maybe like lowering your inhibition. Well, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe it kind of you could take your guard down a little bit.
Yeah, I think it takes away the judgment and it lets you try things. And normally you might be like, this is so dumb. But like when you're messed up, you're like, I'm just going to try everything and throw all the shit at the fan.
It's not, dude. But the other thing too is like I would, one of the biggest things that smoking and drinking and creating altogether would give me were delusions of grandeur.
Right, totally.
True. Yeah.
Like I would sit there thinking I was like the next. I mean, how is anybody going to not just fucking freak out when they hear this track?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which can be really helpful. Like, not just to be honest, like it really can be at times.
It is, but it's not true though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never ended up to be true, ever once.
So Grundy, how did you never fall down the rabbit hole of like I know you've dabbled in other stuff, but like how did you not fall down the rabbit hole of like being addicted to coke and all that stuff? Was booze just your thing?
I had a little moment with that too.
Oh, you
Mom,
did?
if you're listening, I'm so sorry. But it just happens, like.
I seem to remember that actually.
I don't remember being a problem for you though. I just remember you dabbling.
Well, it was fucking Brazil did it, man.
Oh.
You go down to Brazil, and it's a lot. I mean, they told me it's a lot better down here. It's not like that bad of a thing. It's like you can go to bed afterwards. And I was like, oh, really?
Oh,
okay, well, I guess I'll
coke.
try it. Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
You don't just go to bed after doing coke all night. You freak out for a while. It's not fun, But like, there was a little time there where I couldn't really party without it.
Okay.
It wasn't like I was doing it every day, but if we were going to like a concert or if my friends and I were getting together to have a party or something, I didn't feel like I could party without it. And that was like, and luckily, man, I had a moment of clarity with that. There was a show that we played. It was like a New Year's Eve show, probably around 2007 or 8 or something. And I had done too much. I didn't know we were going to be the band because there was a bunch of bands, and I didn't know that we were going to be the band that was going on for the ball drop.
Oh man.
So we got done with our set, and I went in and just started doing a bunch of. I went crazy with this record executive dude that was there. I mean, oh my god!
What does crazy look like for Mac Grundy?
Well, dude, I got to the point where like I couldn't even feel my body, and I didn't even know where I was.
The amount of coke it must take your body to get to that point. Like I cannot even fucking imagine.
Well, but there's also there's a tolerance thing. I didn't do it a lot, so like it didn't take much.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't like, it was something I did because I was stupid and I thought it was fun here and there. But it ended up this night was, so I had to go back on and play. And like, I remember our tour manager at the time coming in and going, Grundy, you got to get on the fucking stage, dude. And the whole band was on the stage, right?
Oh, well, man.
So I walk out there and dude, I might as well have an arrow through my head. I was useless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
was Donavon ready to fucking kill you?
Well, luckily for me, the show was kind of a joke.
Okay.
Like it was billed bad. It didn't sell well.
Okay.
It was kind of a big bummer the whole time.
Got it. Yeah.
So
you might as well party.
Like it's not like what I did ruined it. It was kind of already stuff.
Okay.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I go onto the stage, and I'm supposed to grab my bass, but I don't. I just grab my harmonica off my bass,
Okay.
and I walk up to the mic.
Forget your bass?
Yeah, kind of standing there holding the harp, and then I hear Donovan yell from across the stage, "Grundy, put on your fucking bass!"
Were you holding the harp like a bass?
No, I was just standing in front of the. I didn't know, dude. I mean, I have like a 2-second memory of this.
Oh my
God.
Was this with the old band? Like this is
stories
like
I've been told.
This is like Eric and Craig. That had to have been that crew.
Pete.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then so, anyways, and so I got my bass and I fought through the song, and it was horrible. And the next day I woke up and I was like, oh no. And I remember calling everybody and apologizing, and then just promising myself right then and there that I wasn't going to mess around with that shit anymore, because it goes nowhere. Like that's a soulless, horrible thing.
Yeah.
You know. And I just got sucked into it because I was like, you know, the right age, doing in the right career,
and
I mean, we're not talking. I've done it less than probably 20 times or something.
Yeah,
it wasn't crazy, but
no, but you had a brief moment. I'm sure. Like I
had
just
a little
feel like
moment there,
and
like,
it's free. People are handing it to you. It's like such a crazy thing when you're on the road. It's
just
wild.
Everywhere.
Yeah,
it's everywhere. You know, and so but anyway, so I decided to stop them. But it's funny. The front of house guy at the time, for like the next year, all the local shows, he would hear people talking about me. And that night,
oh man,
from where he was, like it turned into like a thing where, dude, I saw Donovan this one night at the show, and that bass player dude was so hammered, it was awesome. You know, it's like, I'm like, awesome. You know,
yeah,
they're so funny, or I don't know what they say.
But you see that happening, like that's how musicians fall down that rabbit hole, because it's like, oh, well, my fans loved it. Like, I'm cooler for that. You know, it's such a funny energy around it.
Totally. That's exactly right. I'm always amazed by how much people think that we're all just, you know, like people still to this day think that Donovan just lived high.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're convinced that he's like a stoner dude. You know, and I don't want to break anybody's hearts, but
that's his marketing. You know, yeah, he's a hustler for sure. Like
man,
for like
he's like the gnarliest hustling, hardworking dude I've ever met.
Totally true.
You know?
Yeah,
I know him high would be actually like. It's funny because I guess I don't know if we've seen him high. We see him drunk here and there. We've seen him high.
Yeah,
but like I feel like that would almost make him more panicked because he's such a like control. He needs control.
I'll tell you what, it's been several years now since I've seen Donovan, especially when we're on the road working.
Yeah.
He doesn't let himself get out of control of himself at all.
Yeah.
You know? He's very, very good at that. He's actually like it's actually really, it's something I look up to him, you know, like he sets the precedent with that.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, he sets the precedent with a lot of behavior on the road that he always had, you know? And that's cool. You know, he lives it. He doesn't just say it. It's like leading by example with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, it's funny because there's not a whole lot of tour buses I would let my like 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds hang out on. And like I always feel like it's funny, like we'll do through the summer, it's all, you know, the bands that we love, and it's like, oh, do you want to bring the kids? We're going to see Slightly Stupid. And I'm like, no, versus like, you know, we're gonna hop on Donovan's bus and he's like puts cartoons on and he's like would rather hang out with my kids. It's really funny. Like that's his comfort.
He loves it.
Yeah, he's such a good like dad and father figure. Yeah.
I mean, he would have his kids out on the road every single moment if he could.
Yeah.
Well, it's great seeing his boys. It's great seeing his boys like jam out with him now. You know. Seeing Hendrix on the drums is just so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool! It was the other day we were on the bus and Donovan pulled up the live feed from like a Tahiti surf contest, and we watched Hendrix take second place in his professional heat. Like he's a professional surf contest now, you know?
Holy crap.
And I was like, I almost shed a little tear.
Yeah. Full circle, right? Is that crazy?
He's been my buddy since like I've known him since he was born.
Yeah.
You know?
God.
So
what a life that they've Petra and Donovan have given the boys.
Oh man, yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about like that lifestyle for sure. Like I feel like I've never met anyone that has toured the way you and Donovan have toured, and I want to talk.
You won't.
No.
I think G-Love is close.
G-Love is close. If anyone, G-Love is pretty close.
Yeah, G-Love hits it hard.
Yeah.
You know, because he does his acoustic thing as well as his band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's on the road a lot, but you know, even when he might be on the road as much as us, but he's not playing every single day.
Right. Well, you guys are playing, and then you're doing like an in-store appearance, then you're doing something else, then you're doing a surfing event.
Well,
like it's unbelievable.
We'll do,
yeah,
for sure. We'll do like there's a couple of stops on tours now where we'll do a matinee show as well, so we'll play twice.
Oh my God. Well, so
for
let's
like 3
talk
days in
about
a row.
you were really young when you joined this band. Like, how old were you when you started?
I think I was 22. I think I just turned 22.
So before that, what had you been doing? Playing in other bands, or you were just like, what were you doing?
Yeah, I was just trying to do it. You know, that's one thing, man. I know that Jay and I have talked about this a lot. But that's one thing that I did right from the very top. Like, you could have asked me when I was 6 years old how it was going to go in my life, and I would have said, I'm going to be a musician.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that conversation we had talked about? And I had asked you once, so Matt, what exactly have you done differently than all of your high school music buddies? And you remember your answer for that?
Yeah, I just committed to it.
Right.
Like that's what it was going to be. And for me, it was easy because because I always just had my eye on the prize with it. But I can see, especially now looking back on it, and as I get a little bit older, it's like, you know, it's a huge gamble.
Yeah,
because
majorly. You
know, there's so many good players and so many people going after it, and then there's so few slots. You know, so what I've really done, especially over the last decade, and what Donovan's really done too, and I've been able to do it because, you know, he's kind of paved the way. Is like we've kind of cut our own groove into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep.
We don't necessarily do things the way everybody else does, and the fact that Donovan is a surfer as well, makes it kind of different. But I think that also surfing might be one of the only sports that you can have a band in, and then they'll take the band seriously too. It's not like it's not like LeBron James could start a band and everybody's gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be sick.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Shaq tried to do it. Nobody took his rap that seriously.
Did he? Know? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Shaq was rapping.
We're gonna have to check that one out. That's
awesome. Man. You guys should make yourself a playlist.
Oh man.
Oh my God. Well, so you were like bound and determined from the beginning. So was it always guitar and harmonica, or you were like, which one was the main?
It was a guitar at first. I remember my dad bought me a '69 Fender Bronco when I was 6, and he got it from a neighbor for $100.
Mm.
And I learned how to play La Bamba on it.
La 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 Bamba.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's when that movie came out.
Yeah.
You know, that was like the Lou Diamond Phillips thing, and then I played La Bamba at a talent show.
Did you sing
I remember no, I didn't sing, but like, you know, I remember I was 8 when this happened. We had a bunch of exchange students come to Thielen from Japan, and so we put on a talent show for them where like some of those kids got up and did some stuff, and then some of us got up and did some stuff, whatever. And it's so funny, dude. Like, so I got up and played La Bamba, you know, and brought the house down or whatever. And I couldn't believe it. I remember being so nervous, and I played my La Bamba. And I felt like I had my finger on a light socket. I was so freaked out, right?
Yeah.
I remember it clearly. And as soon as it was done, the place went fucking crazy. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I was shot full of just like, I think I still am still using that confidence, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was just this never ending battery charge that I got. And it was sick. And then afterwards I rolled down and I started like kind of to mingle, and these kids were 13. So I was 8, dude. And these kids were like 12 and 13. And one of these little girls grabbed me by my hand and took me around the back and gave me a kiss.
Yeah. Well, you were probably like 5'10" by that point, right?
Yeah, I was big. She didn't know I was 8. I was taller than her.
That's enough to like make you commit to music, I think.
Oh, dude. Well, I mean, it was all there.
What exactly do you think it is that made you able to commit? Like, I think that's a big thing. And when we talked about it a while ago, it kept sticking in my head. Like, that's such a repeating pattern for people that succeed in like the creative arts or any kind of career like that. What do you think it was that like let you commit that other people have a really tough time with? Or, like, is there like a commit or what else scenario in your head?
I think it's like I think it's a how rich am I going to be when I'm an adult kind of a thing.
Okay.
You know, like, or not how, or am I going to live a well-off life? Am I going to be broke my whole life? You know, 'cause when you first start playing music, you're lucky to scratch together $250 a week.
Yeah.
Even after you're playing for a long time.
Yeah. There's guys I know all the time that are excellent players that are taking $50 blues gigs, and you got to pay for 4 fucking hours.
Oh my God.
Ugh. And that literally, when I said that, it made my stomach hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do it, you know?
Yep.
No way. That's a scary reality.
So what is
know?
it? What is it that makes someone commit as opposed to someone who doesn't?
Well, for me, I think that like I didn't care about the lack of security in it.
Okay.
Like I was willing to live in my car forever if I got to play guitar. That didn't just sound like something that was okay. That sounded like something that was favorable to me.
Yeah.
Like I would be into it. Oh, I'll just have a band, and then like maybe I'll come over to my mom's house and take a shower a couple times a week, and I'll just get by. And that'd be sweet. And maybe a lot of people can't think the same way. You know, maybe people want to grow up and have families and have a house and, you know, have investments and be the adult. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of people want. You know, there's no promise that when you go be a musician that you're going to get a job. In fact, the odds are stacked highly against you.
Yeah.
More so than if you were going to be like, okay, I'm going to go be an investment banker or some other thing that's hard. You'd probably have a better chance of doing well at that, you know.
What about approaching it like one step below that, like not necessarily committing to make a life out of it, but what about creative people or creatively interested people that are looking to improve their craft that can't seem to commit to just getting more fluency in their particular craft? A lot of people just try guitar and give up, or they try painting and they give up. What do you think happens there?
People love to grab at any kind of excuse that is out of their control, so they can stop trying. Like if I hear one more person be like, "I tried to play guitar, but my hands are just too small." It's like, dude, let me pull up this picture of this 4-year-old Korean kid just annihilating classical guitar and his little hands.
God damn it, Grundy, like, that's literally my excuse. So you're like just destroying me?
What really happened is you just like got frustrated with the fact that you didn't get it right away.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to do it.
It's true. Totally true. Yeah. No, we were talking about this on another podcast because we were talking about we
were talking to Marty Schwartz, the YouTube guitar guy that has like a bazillion hits.
I have a friend in common with him, but I've never met Marty, or maybe I did meet him once. I don't remember. But.
Yeah, he's got a cool story, but we were talking about Tim Reynolds because I was like, okay, so if anyone can say the small hands thing, like actually, if I could put 2 musicians next to each other just for fun, it would be like you standing next to Tim Reynolds. I'd be like, let's see how these 2 together. It would be like the funniest standoff ever.
Oh man, he would bury me on guitar though. That guy's amazing.
Oh, he's so sick. Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, but that's funny. You know, I have somewhere on a hard drive somewhere. I have a picture with me with Danny DeVito at Coachella.
Oh my God.
That's funny. That's a funny one.
I want to know how this, like, so your outlook on commitment was powerful, right? And I want to know how does that relate to what you're going through with like giving up drinking and other aspects of your life? Do you use those lessons of like, hey, if it's important enough, no excuses acceptable?
Well, I wish I could say yes. I wish I could say that like my decision to commit to this was like an option. It was like built into me, dude. Like it was just the only way it was going to go. Okay. You know, with drinking, I'm making the decision, and it's hard. It's a hard one. You know, now it's not even like about drinking anymore. It's about just, you know, like basically I woke up to a life that a drunk built.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sifting through, you know, it's kind of like keep this, throw this out, keep this, throw this out, with everything from physical possessions to emotional shit. You know?
Yeah, isn't it interesting that those big purges come along with like the shit? Like you kind of look around your house too, and you're just like, I need it all gone. Like Jay and I would go through it, like purge everything.
Yeah, it's just crazy. And you know, and I have become so much better with my work ethic and my commitment to my craft. Sober,
yeah,
it's undeniable. You know, and I'm not saying that you have to be sober to be. Because, I mean, I know guys that are just incredible. You know, that's obviously...
That will never be sober. True. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just everybody's so different.
So, Jay, I take my sleep very seriously. You know that.
I know this. This is true. Don't mess with Chelsea's sleep.
And here's the thing is that I'm a birth doula. So it's actually kind of funny because
you don't get much sleep anyway.
I don't get any sleep. It's really kind of crazy. The game changer for me for getting back into a really good sleep cycle has been CBD oil. For sure.
Down with CBD?
So Jay did some due diligence and found a absolutely well-known, actually, right? And
very well-known
brand.
Company that decided to actually partner with us, which we're excited about.
Super excited. And
Charlotte's Web.
What a better fit for our first full-time affiliate, right? Like full on.
We're both stoked. We've been using CBD for, I don't know, like half a year or a year?
Probably coming up to a year, yeah. But it actually gets me like really back into the exact flow of sleep that I need.
And I use it to not be such a stressful husband. As you can tell. It does actually help, though. I have a lot of everyday stress from work and from being a dad, and I find that it does kind of take the edge off.
Yeah, so we've got some links and some codes for you guys.
Yeah, so if you guys are interested in checking out Charlotte's Web CBD, you can go to jalders.com/CBD. That's going to get you 10% off everything except for the bulk and the original. And we have to say this, and I'm saying this in italics, that everything we've said has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, and none of this is intended to diagnose, treat, or cure, or prevent any diseases. So we are not doctors. We don't play them on the podcast. Once again, that's jalders.com/CBD. Don't forget to use code ALDERS for 10% off. That's spelled ALDERS.
I want to talk about like that next. So you're doing a lot of solo stuff. So obviously you're still going to stick with Donovan, but what's the goal for the solo gigs right now?
The goal is only to share music.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
And anything that comes with that will be welcomed, you know? So, because I mean, it's kind of like, you know, I was talking to my friend the other day, and she says, I love what she said. She said, the music business is the Wild West. Nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Nobody knows how to make it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So all you can do is just kind of hustle. And I still have to believe that if the music is truly good enough, everything else is going to work out, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm just striving towards, you know, my ideal of what is great. Now being sober definitely knows how it's a little bit more obvious how far I am from that. Like I know exactly. That's kind of a humbling thing. I think I think maybe before I thought I was in a better place than I actually was. As far as like, you know, my success, even though I'm thankful for the success that I've had and stuff, but like, I'm definitely wanting more now, and I'm working for more now than I was before, which is awesome. It feels good, you know? Yeah,
I bet. Well, so are you doing shows at home right now? Or are you like, what are you doing for solo?
No, I just opened up the whole, like 30 show tour of Donovan's. He let me open.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, yeah, it worked out great. I had some, man, the new bluesy stuff that I wrote sure is going off a lot better than my folky stuff that I was writing. So that's good too. That's another thing too. Like, you know, before when I would write, I would just go too deep into it, you know, that's not the right way to say it. I think that I would maybe, it would just be too complicated.
Like overplay.
Like the message that I was trying to get across was too personalized.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, like you had to be me to understand what the song was. You know, makes perfect sense to me, but most people are like, you know, I think kind of just people didn't jive with that as much. But when they did, they loved it, you know, but it was rare that they did.
Yeah.
You know?
There's such a fine line between like too much and not enough.
Yeah. Yeah, there is. And you got to just kind of write, you got to make your music relatable. You got to make your art relatable too. I mean, if you want a lot of people to enjoy it, then you have to make it, you know, accessible to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, so isn't there an ego thing in that too? Like, I feel like that's actually one of like one of the bigger conversations Jay and I like have is like, some days he's just like, well, I mean, you almost feel like it's like that toddler moment of just like, I want to paint what I want to paint. And like, screw you all. But then there's like other sides that are like, I gotta make a living. So I'm going to paint this.
Yeah. I guess it's just a matter of how much you have to make a living that week or that month.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, if I have a really good, if I'm blessed with a really good month and I got I can kick it for a couple of weeks and maybe experiment. I love that. And I will do that. But most of the time I don't share it, because I don't want to confuse everybody so much, Like here's Grundy's, Grundy made a singing bowl record. It's like,
yeah. Why not though, right? Like,
but it's fun and it's good and it's like it's healthy and to get into, like I'm sure that you could sit in front of a canvas and paint just an insanely abstract, crazy thing.
Totally, I love doing that.
I know you could, could kill it, but the thing is, you're going to confuse your fan base because they expect a certain, you to stay within a certain. I mean, am I right?
To some extent, you are right. What I have tried to do is like do things that I think people that follow me or my collectors would like, but I try to do it in a way where it's still something that I'm very passionate about. Like I try not to spoon feed my audience. I know that I know what will do well, but I also kind of push that in the back of my head when I'm creating, so that's not the thing that's controlling my creative process. So if I have the option between 10 different things that I really, really want to paint genuinely, and I think one is or two or three are pulling me in the same way, I may or may not lean towards one that I think might do well. But then after I come out with, one, two, or three things that kind of makes people smile and happy and buy stuff, I'll usually squeak in something that's like completely off the wall just because I'm doing it my way,
Yeah. Well, I think that you're gonna if you do a little bit of that stuff, it's just gonna make people respect you more.
Yeah, I think people like seeing some experimenting, and I've never been one to just follow a recipe on painting, and I think you're the same.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely like, well, with this last record, I was like, you know what? When I sit down to listen to music, like you can come over to my house and go through my record collection, which is sizable, and there won't be more than 5 records in there that aren't blues, and there won't be more than 5 records in there of people that are still alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I clearly like that the best. It's what I go after. It's what I listen to. So I'm like, well, why don't I do something bluesy? Yeah. I never did it before because I know that there's not a lot of money in the blues. Well, you know what? There's not a lot of money in anything right now.
Well, tell Led Zeppelin that, or tell the Stones,
Well, you want to know something crazy about that though? Is there used to be a lot of money in publishing,
right?
Because bands like the Stones and Led Zeppelin wouldn't put their music in a McDonald's commercial or fill in the blank there, whatever.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to, because they were making so much money in their record sales and other things. So people that were coming up could get little pieces of that. Well, now that they're not making nobody's buying any music, all the big bands are taking all the publishing stuff. So that's gone too.
Yeah.
It's
a weird world out there. Part. It really is. And I feel like people like maybe you and Donavon, who have sort of been in the scene nonstop for the last 15 years, have really seen this crazy shift from the very beginning of your career to what it is now. For sure.
Well, yeah, when we put out the first record, the music industry was for the most part pretty healthy still.
Yeah.
Like Donavon definitely got in there right at the very end of it. And so we were able to be put in a place of stardom in that, because that's one thing the old system did, the record label system, is they made stars out of people. And now you got to figure out your own way to hustle yourself into stardom, and people are doing it, and it's cool. The thing that's cool about it is everybody gets to try if they want to now.
Mm-hmm.
That's also the thing that's not cool about it.
But it's also the thing that's not cool about it.
Yeah.
It's exactly right.
And it also pulls a creative person away from what they actually want to do, which kind of is like a stinky part of it.
Totally. Yeah. So it's kind of like it's a double-edged deal, but yeah, I mean, he got lucky. He got in there. Well, I won't say lucky. He was in the right place at the right time, and he was ready.
Yeah.
He was prepared to do it. So, and then, so all that happened in our first record. I think it's gold in the U.S. Or maybe more. Maybe it's platinum. I don't know. But everybody, all of our fans that come out today, our fans have just stayed with us since then.
Yeah, you guys have such a deep fan base. There's people that we could go. I remember when we were in Jacksonville too. We would go and see some people that had seen half your East Coast tour. People that just have been coming for 10 years straight, and we're seeing the only place we see them is at a Donavon show. It's so funny.
For sure. Yeah, and I've made friends with those people.
Yeah.
a lot of them.
Us included, by the way.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a wild journey. Well, like, how do you like connect with these people in the sense that like it is the craziest thing that you're getting like an hour with someone in a year and then creating a relationship? Like, did you struggle with that for a while where it's just these like very non-permanent relationships?
Well, no, because here's the thing. It's like, and I don't know how to say this without, I want to make sure to say this right.
Yeah.
Those people really want to be my friend.
Yeah.
Right. Because they're fans of Donavon's and mine and for whatever reason that I may not be, it would be very, very cool for them. So not all of them, but some of them, you know? And so it's not like if we're the ones that I've made friends with, it's not like they're going to, you know, give me any grief for not calling or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Got it.
So it's like, I just see them when we're in town and whatever, whatever they do for a living, maybe they'll share a little bit of that with me. Like I have a friend that's a children's book, artist. Yeah. And so like last time I see him, he signs a bunch of books for Juniper and then I give him some CDs or whatever. And then we just hang out for a second. Yeah. Or I have another buddy that he owns a comb factory, so he brings me a bunch of, you know, personalized combs with my name and Juniper's name, and you know, whatever, just like cool stuff like that. And we're friends, and you know, I'll put these people on the list too sometimes. Then I'll pay, and then there's some people that have become like good friends, I'd say, that are living in California here, and I've been over their house, you know, here and there. So I don't know.
Is that
cool. Most of my friends are because of the band.
Yeah.
You know, most of them.
Is that lonely at times? Like realizing like all these people around me, like a majority of them on tour kind of look at me as like a person of influence or a status symbol to be seen with, or a giant statue of a guy with a hat to take a picture in front of, like. Yeah.
Well, it is lonely because it's really lonely because I don't consider it to be legitimate.
Yeah.
You know, like I can't, my ego isn't big enough for me to be like, oh, these people think I'm so cool, that's why this is going on. Right. Like, I feel like these people are duped or something, you know, like, but that's just the way that I am. That's not the case. That's not true. I know that's not true for any of them that might be listening to this, but I don't know. I'm the last person to think that there's anything overly special about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's how, like, I just feel like so many artists and creatives are. Like, I'm not sure how well people create who do think they're, like, just the gods and you're so lucky to be my friend. And, you know, I don't know.
I'll tell you what, the people that do that on the road, I don't get along with at all.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't. I got nothing for them.
Yeah.
You know?
What about the other side of that? Like, I know you obviously have performed with, you know, very talented and well-known people. Is there like still a high school version of Matt within you where you're playing with someone that it's beyond just the music, it's just being around them or playing with them that you're like, this is so cool?
Oh, dude, totally. I live for those moments, man, because I'm a fan of so many of them.
Yeah.
What have been some examples?
What are some of the bigger ones? Yeah.
Well, I remember like one time I saw Ben Harper and he's like, "What's up, Grundy?" And he gave me a hug and I thought I was going to fucking faint.
Yes. I love to hear that. We did an episode with Dan Leibowitz and I asked him something similar and he was like, "No, it's cool. I'm just playing with the dead. Like, you know, it's just Bob." Like, I'm like, "Really?" Like,
I don't know, man. If I could play guitar like Dan, it might be a little different. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, stop, dude.
He plays like he invented the damn thing. Dude.
Yeah, that is true.
You know?
Yeah,
I know.
God, what a monster he is.
I think it's cool to still have that magic, though, where obviously, you know, obviously in your case, like Ben is still just Ben at this point, but it's great to be like, hey, you know, you have some kind of powers that I admire enough to like be like, whoa.
Well, and you know, and it was like the next time I saw him, he introduced me to the bass player of Pearl Jam as Grant.
Oh,
so it's not like he knows me.
Oh, he said you were Grant. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so it's like maybe I don't know. Maybe he remembered then, and then so it's not like we're buddies or anything.
Yeah,
and I was bummed too because Jeff Ament is like
ridiculous.
Dude, I was standing next to him, and I'm thinking about when I was 15 years old, like listening to Pearl Jam. Wondering if I was ever going to get a girlfriend and shit. Like that,
it's like what I mean? Back chapter that throws me into.
And then he goes to introduce me and he says the wrong name. And then I didn't have the heart to be like, actually, because, I didn't want to him.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make Ben feel weird or whatever, because I don't know, we don't know each other.
Yeah.
It's like, but we've been around each other enough where he remembered my name at one point.
That's so funny. Like the different versions of the Velvet Rope. Like we just assume people that are watching you and Donavon play just assume that you and everyone on the other side of it are just like close buddies, but there's still like a layer where you're like, that's the other side of it, and that's still
there's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
If the band's more famous, it makes them a hell of a lot less likely to come be friends with you.
Yeah.
Like they're mostly, but there's some people that are just completely not that way. Like I'll throw G Love's name into the hat. He is awesome to everybody he comes in contact with.
So true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. He is. And Donovan's real good about that too. And that's, I have a lot more respect for musicians like that they're not playing a popularity game.
No,
they're just out there. They're really comfortable with where they are in the game, and they just want to share their music and be loving towards as many people as possible. And that's very cool,
So
something to look up to.
I don't want to dive into like a full on Donavon chaos story hole, but I have to tell one story because you're here and I don't get to talk to you that much. But so we were on the bus with you guys in Australia. So we did like a week with you guys. It was our first experience, and all of you were so happy to see us be tortured by the schedule of Donavon. But I just to like, I love the it drove me crazy at the time, but the childlike of Donavon, I like have to tell this story. So I don't know if you remember this, but we woke up. I mean, there was probably 60 beers on the counter, so it was definitely in the thick of that.
That was when me and Tito watched the countdown.
Tito. I remember that. Yeah,
we watched the 100. That was one of the best days ever. Anyway, go ahead.
I was passed out on the couch.
We went out to dinner and we came back and there was 60 beers on the. I'm like, how the fuck did they go through this?
Me and Tito drank all those.
It's crazy. But do you remember the next morning? So first of all, we had the temperature war all night where like I would turn it down and then Donavon was turning it up to like 120. We were all just dying in this hotel together. So for the record, it was like a 2-bedroom hotel room with a main area and we were all sleeping in this area together. And we wake up and do you remember he fucking took a whole thing of bread and shredded it and threw it all over the hotel room so it was filled with birds? I remember walking out and there's just fucking birds everywhere. I'm like, what is happening? It was like, and I'm like, I have a fear of like birds getting stuck in my hair and like attacking me. And it was literally just Donavon with a whole loaf of bread, just shredding it, and, like throwing it.
Because there were those lorikeets, right? There were those colorful lorikeet deals.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember something about that, but I woke up with a hangover from another planet. There was like a top 180s countdown music video.
Yes.
But it was like of what was popular in Australia, so a lot of the stuff we didn't really know.
Yes, that's right.
And man, Tito sat there, got like way too into it, and then I remember going down to the little liquor store down at the bottom, and like I think I made 4 extra trips or something. Like we just kept drinking until
it was like a game. You were drinking for some reason. I don't. Maybe it was like a beer, a song.
We might have had something going on where like each new video we had to get get a beer down or something.
Okay, yeah.
I don't remember. I don't remember what it was.
It was a very quick intro. For the record, twice I almost got left behind in some town in Australia because I wasn't moving fast enough. That was like definitely the craziest. Like getting to understand the way Donavon moves was like the most surreal experience.
Oh, yeah, he's the fastest walker there is. He's like, I don't know what it is. He can look like he's just cruising. But
he's like, and it's like 10 steps for me for his every stride where I'm just like waddling behind him.
I've long given up on trying to keep up with him in the airport. So.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, I just let him go.
Can we talk about like your existence in Groundhog Day? Like whenever we see you guys, it's like seems like the exact same day and different, like, the years go by, but it's the same scenario. Can you talk about maybe any stories that stand out as like, like little bookmarks in your head were there any tours that were like, this is different or that stands out?
Oh man, there's been so many crazy things that have happened. A couple of years ago, we went to Europe, and I don't know why we didn't get a decent bus. It might have been because our tour was booked late and all the buses were taken.
Yeah.
or it might have been a budget thing. I don't know. But Adam Topol was out supporting his new solo release. And Adam's the drummer for Jack, in case you don't know him. I think you guys probably know him. And he was with us as the opening act, and we show up at Amsterdam airport to meet the bus. And dude, it's basically a cargo van.
Oh, shit.
With like 2x4 bunks built into it.
Oh my god.
No bathroom, no heater. This is winter time, by the way. And the whole thing smells like a punk band, like jacked off and puked all over the inside of it. It was like unbelievable. God. I don't know why it would have to be a punk band.
The first thing I thought of is like, oh, that's like a Warped Tour bus. Like I've been on those buses. It's literally what you feel like.
Dude, this is like 1980 Black Flag or something. Like what the hell, dude?
Yeah,
we're adult men. There's no.
What's the plan when that happens? Like, what the fuck do you do?
Get on it and tour for 35 days straight.
No,
oh my god,
yeah,
really?
And slept on it.
Yeah, I had this big winter coat that I had to sleep in. It's still freezing.
Oh,
you know,
my god.
So I started drinking. Oh no, actually, I kept it cool that tour. I kept it way cool as far as drinking goes, thank God. And a lot of that was because Adam was there. He's the sober guy, and I had somebody that wasn't partying to hang with.
Yeah,
that was cool. But the next time we went back, Donavon said, "Hey, all that was left was that same company, but they're sending us." They said it's very nice. It's not like the other one. I was like, "Oh boy,
yeah,
here we go." You know. And this time it was just me and Adrian and Donavon, just three of us, and this damn thing pulls up. It's probably 2 feet longer, you know, so there's a little bit more space, I guess. And it's the same shit on the inside, except for everybody. It's got those little rope lights everywhere, so it looks a little fancier. And I was just like, oh my God, we have to do this again for another 30 days. So we did it again. And this time I drank like a complete asshole.
Yeah.
You know, like we would get done with the show, and then I'd go sit on the curb next to that van and just stare at it and put a half a bottle of whiskey down before I could get on it.
God,
whoa.
Jesus!
I had to drink myself into a blackout. I drank myself into a space where I could still walk to get on the bus into the bunk, but that's it.
Man,
God,
every night I did that every single night.
Grundy, I would be dead, full undead. Well, it's funny because I've seen G put that down. Like G Love can go through half a bottle of whiskey before he goes on stage, and every time I'm like humbled. I'm like, Jesus, like my body, I would just die right there and be dead.
You know, it's like once you get used to it, it's like it's not a big deal.
I'll build up my tolerance, Grundy. I'll be ready for you.
Yeah, you'll be all right. I believe in you. I think you can do it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Good Lord. Can we talk a bit about the Grundy fascination that I absolutely love and share? You have this fascination with like these esoteric intellectual people and topics, and we like send each other like, did you see this, YouTube video or this podcast? And like, I feel like that's one of the things I look forward to that whenever we see each other. We like swap new things. Can you talk about where that came from and what your latest one is? So I guess my latest one is Sam Harris, but I went through a Sam Harris thing a few years ago as well. And then I took a break from Sam Harris, and I've got like 3 or 4 dudes that I kind of hop around in between now, and just get my mind blown. It's so beautiful. It's like I think that their intelligence and their articulation is like the most beautiful thing in the world right now. You know, agreed.
Like I don't think that there's any kind of music or art you can look at or anything that's as important as like what those guys are trying to do. You know, and they give me a lot of hope because. It kind of, and I don't want to say the wrong thing because I have a lot of family members and stuff, but I guess they wouldn't be included in this, but it seems like a lot of the young generation is very, very fucking ill-equipped to handle our country when it's time for them to. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's enough young people paying attention to those guys to where maybe that's going to be okay. And that's a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's huge, dude.
I've been doing Sam Harris's meditation course, which is like... Oh,
how is that?
It's
what a mind blower.
Oh, have you done it? Are you doing it?
Yeah, I have it. Yeah, I'm subscribed.
Yeah, I've been doing it for going on 3 months now, and it definitely is making a noticeable change in my awareness. And he's just super fascinating. Who are some of the other guys?
How do you feel about his free will thing?
Which free will thing?
that he doesn't believe it exists.
You'd have to ask me something more specific for me to answer that.
So a lot of that. Let me see. I'm still trying to get my head around it myself, but he doesn't believe free will exists, and he put an argument together. I think it might have been in one of those meditation lessons. Do you listen to the lessons?
I haven't been listening to the lessons as much. I do like the daily meditations.
Okay, I think he has.
But I listened to his podcast, so I probably heard it.
So listen to his meditation lessons. It's called Free Will Part 1, and I think he's got Part 2 as well. And basically, he just goes into how we don't have free will, like the illusion of free will is even an illusion. And he goes into explains how he thinks about that and how it's basically like this is my peanut brain's grasp on it. It's not going to be very good, but I'm going to try my best. It's like you're fed. Your choices only are kind of really truly consist of the thoughts and options that are kind of like uploaded into your brain at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so you don't have, so right then and there, you don't have true free will because you don't even have a grasp on all your options.
Right.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And then from there, it's like that you're not your thoughts, obviously. And that's one thing I've learned since I've been sober is that and that's a comfort.
Yes.
To me is that you're not your thoughts. Thank God you can set that down and pick it up if you have
the awareness of
whatever. If you can keep it in mind, if you can, gosh dang it, I'm gonna sit here till I get it.
I'll touch upon that while you're thinking. It's like we're not our thoughts, but then some portion of that is also we're thinking about we're not our thoughts. It's all like the same energy in consciousness, right? So we have this thought about not being our thoughts. So who knows which thought is actually true, right? And then you get into the crazy shit that Elon Musk talks about, like maybe it's all just a hologram and maybe it's not real. And
this could go on forever.
Yeah, it's a wormhole for sure.
Yeah. Well, and then Sam gets into that stuff about losing your head,
right.
Which is another really crazy thing, and I've practiced that enough now where I've gotten little glimpses of it.
Yeah,
and it's a very refreshing feeling, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll get it for a second. This is all stuff that I know that a lot of people that devote their lives to these types of practices they live in those states, and I couldn't imagine how just satisfying that might be. But yeah, dude, he threw me for a little bit of a loop with that one, because just because of not really so much because of the future. I feel like the future is okay with that kind of a mindset, and maybe you could be comforted in a way to be aware of that and just kind of cruise, I guess. But it was thinking about my past and how that's all gone with, and then thinking about how none of it was my choosing.
Yeah,
I guess. And that's where it kind of started to really. I didn't sleep a whole night. Just sat up in this weird kind of manic state over it. And then I had to go. It was when I was making my last record, and I tell this story on stage when I do my opening set. And it goes off pretty funny. I had to go. I went in to record because I was I only had 10 days to do this record, because I had to go out and open and wanted some new music to share, whatever. So I get into the studio and I have a little pot-bellied cast iron stove in there that I build fires in. Because it gets cold in the studio. I'm in the desert, but we're up at 5,000 feet, so it's cold. And so I'm building a fire. I'm going to start my session. It's probably 8 in the morning or something, and I had not slept the night before. When I tell the story on stage, by the way, I leave out the whole free will and the Sam Harris thing.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to fucking trip people out. Actually, I think I tried it one night, and everybody listened to me I was nuts.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot to handle after a couple beers. And
yeah, they're like, wait a minute, we're trying to sit here and listen to some tunes, dude. Shut up, whatever. But so I'm sitting there and I'm building a fire, and I remember staring into the flame as it was getting kind of big, and I was thinking about all this stuff. And then I got one of those little momentary glimpses of how that might be the case and how it might be okay that that's the case.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
And just as that happened, dude, the chimney from the stove came off of the wall and came down and hit me in the head.
Stop.
And I swear to God, this is a completely 100% true story. Stop. And I stood up, and I'm a tall dude, and the flames were coming out of the top of the stove over my head. And this is in a small room with everything that I hold dear to me in it.
Jesus.
And also a wood, like there's all kinds of very flammable shit around. Like, it was scary. So I thought quick. I got up. I grabbed there was a packing blanket that I keep on top of my Hammond organ to keep the dust out of it. And I picked the pipe up with that because I knew the damn thing had to be hot, right? So, and then I shoved it back on. I jumped up on the organ, stood on the top of it, and I bashed the top part of the chimney back into the wall with a mic stand. And just as that happened, I was like, okay, cool. I'm safe now. And just as that happened, I got like a crazy kind of nausea and lightheadedness from breathing in so much smoke. I mean, this is an airtight room.
Oh my God.
And so I jump out of the studio, and smoke's just billowing out the door. I can only imagine like what it would be like as like a fly on the wall, or whatever. Just if somebody was walking by and saw that happen, because I came out, it was literally like billows.
Holy shit.
And then I sat down on the curb and outside of my studio, and I just kind of like tried to take in what just happened, because it was like full blown. I went from epiphany to fight or flight survival.
Yeah.
In the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
And because that happened, I don't remember what my realization was at all that I had for my life when I was looking into the flames after I stayed up all night. I still haven't gotten it back.
Stop.
Can't remember it, I swear to God.
You felt like you did all this self-work and then it was just like gone.
Well, I don't even know if it was self-work, and I don't even know, I guess the event itself was traumatic enough on me. It made me freaked out to the point where it was just like, that took over, and so anything that was happening within the hour going up to it. So I've been thinking about it a lot more. And anyways, I wrote a song about that experience. It's called Stovepipe Blues, and I wrote it while I was on tour, because it's so weird. Like that night and that day of the fire happening and all that stuff, I thought about it for the next 3 weeks nonstop. Like I was some sort of crazy person or something,
Yeah.
Like I was obsessed with it.
It was just the order of things was like too much to handle.
I couldn't stop thinking about it. Because like when you think about, because you anchor that whole thing in free will and whether or not, there's things are predetermined or not. It's just, the whole thing was really, really strange. And I know that it's very, what do they say? It's like, it makes the most sense to me as an individual, because I like lived through it or whatever. And it's very, it's all about my experience with it. But dude, I couldn't get it out of my head.
Sometimes I wonder with stuff like that if it's like a sign from the universe, like almost like your ego or your darker side felt threatened, that you got closer towards enlightenment, and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to burn some shit up to take you away from that."
Hey, man, I'll tell you what, Jay, it seemed a hell of a lot like that was the case.
Yeah.
A whole hell of a lot.
I find that like when my like pendulum swings and I feel like I'm doing great and everything's going awesome, I feel like there's some ego part of me that feels very threatened that I might not need it anymore. And that's usually when shit goes awry and I, when I'm sinking back into like a depression or something. Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's crazy. And like, and that's the thing about individuals is we're all so massive, and there's no way, all of us are so big in our consciousness that it's impossible for any one of us to fully realize the depth of very many others, right? It seems that way to me, at least. Mm-hmm. Like you got your core group of people, and you respect them as individuals and as having the same thing going on as you do, but really there's 6 billion of us that are that way.
Yeah. Well, Jay and I talk about that with even just in like the doula work, or with Jay meeting like people that buy his art. It's people that you're totally prejudging in the sense of like, oh, I thought this about you. And then I'm there on their most vulnerable day and I'm like, oh my God, I would never have been friends with this person. And this is like crazy. Like you learn so much. And
that's awesome.
We don't give people a chance, right, to even get to that space with them. So we're just like, nope, you're not my people. See you later. And you don't know anything about them. Yeah.
Yeah. Much less be able to get into a conversation with them over things like that are very massive individualized experiences, you know, and to try to see things from their point of view. It's like, man, that'd be a lot of work.
So is this process you're moving through, like, do you think it's getting deeper with the sobriety? Like, is this a big thing for you right now where you're like, I'm going to see where my mind goes?
You know, it's funny. Like I've been thinking about things a lot in metaphor lately, and I think it's just because I went into the Jordan Peterson thing so deeply, and I love how he brings metaphor into everything. I just love it, and it makes sense to me. I know how smart I am. I'm smart enough where I don't feel like I'm dumb, but I'm like, you know, I have friends that are truly smart, and I realize the difference between the way they talk and the way that they're able to, you know, categorize their thoughts and all that kind of stuff. But I have a metaphor that I've kind of come up with that is, I think it describes what I'm going through pretty well. And I was going to share that with you guys.
Let's hear it.
So it's like, I kind of feel like I'm on one of those big tanker ships. Well, actually, I feel like I was on, around the time I quit 5 months ago, I was kind of standing on a big tanker ship. And I had my daughter and my wife with me, and maybe other people that I loved with me, but that's not really the point. It's funny when I tell the story, it kind of plays out like a dream.
Yeah.
And I usually kind of add more things, so I don't really know how this is going to go exactly. But so we're on a big tanker ship, like one of those, you know, those big monsters. And off in the distance, there's like just this insane storm, and we're heading straight into it. And I'm carrying a lot of shit on this boat. Everything from all my worries to all my possessions to all my money to everything that is me is on this boat, right? But we got to turn around because we're going to hit this storm head on. So I got to figure out what to get rid of so the boat gets light enough to make the turn in time. Well, turns out I got rid of some things, but some things I didn't even see there. And so now in this stage of the game, I feel like we're turned sideways, but I'm getting hit by the storm sideways. And I'm hanging in there because I know once we get it all the way turned around, that same storm and that same energy is going to propel me. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love it.
Because the waves will be at our back. And so that's kind of, but I'm getting beat up, you know, right now.
Yeah.
And so all I can think about is the work that I'm doing and how it's going to spiral me upward quicker than I've ever been, hopefully propelled towards positivity ever.
Yeah.
Man,
and I'm banking a lot on it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm putting everything on it. So
I can relate to that as an artist and a person because I feel like I'm going through a similar type of a metaphor, but I also relate it back to like being an artist where you put up with the process and the struggle of creating because you believe that it's going to produce something, a song or a painting or something that is worth that struggle, that turbulence.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the validation, right?
Yeah.
But dude, by the way, okay, so I gotta give you I gotta throw some accolades your way for a second. Everybody that I know that follows you and knows that I know you hit me with a text the day you posted your last new painting. Like, what the fuck? That thing is unbelievable.
Dude, thank you.
And I felt bad because I hadn't been on social media to look at it, and I look at it, dude, that thing is a full blown like Mike Tyson right hook. That thing is nuts. Fuck.
Thank you,
dude,
bro.
My hair's standing up on my arm. What an accomplishment that is. So, dude,
man,
you're like, it's so good to see it too, because you've always been, since I've known you, just all about your hustle and doing your thing, and finding your thing, and you know, making those adjustments, and it's showing, dude, big
Thank
time.
you, brother.
So yeah.
Talking about the
For sure.
hustle, it's interesting. Like with what I do, I never really had any kind of like art or fine art mentors, so I sort of modeled my hustle after some of the bands that I love. So it's great seeing what you and Donovan and other guys do, because it really can apply towards other crafts. And so speaking of creative process, I can't let you go without understanding more about yours. And I'm wondering if, especially with sobriety now, what are some of the hacks that let you get into that place to create?
Well, I don't know about a hack.
Like meditation or like a practice?
Yeah, so I definitely do that. But I'll tell you what, with me and meditation in my practice, all I can say about it is that I try to do it every day.
Yeah, same.
Sometimes I make it through the 10 or 12 minutes or whatever, sometimes the 20 minutes, whatever those things are. And sometimes I can't get 45 seconds into it. But I continue to make the effort, towards that type of stuff and towards being more balanced and more in control of what I'm going to do throughout my day. Another thing I've gotten into, which I haven't said much to you guys about, is this is going to sound maybe a little bit weird, but it is. But it's really working for me. Is I make sure that I put myself through more pain than anybody or anything I can possibly put me through that I'm going to face during my day. So when I wake up in the morning, if I'm having a good day, which is more days often than not, I'll do like a big yogic breathing exercise. It takes about 30 minutes, and then I'll hit the gym in my garage, and I'll practically kill myself in there.
Yeah. And
then after that, I live basically in the mountains. My tap water is probably 45 degrees or 50 degrees. I go take a shower and I set a timer and I make myself stand under it for 10 minutes.
Oh, fuck that.
That's great. Are you like into Wim Hof? Is that where this all came
from? That's who gave me all these ideas. I don't really take his course or anything.
Yeah.
But I do that breathing exercise.
How's that been for you? I haven't done it fully, but I'm like really fascinated.
Okay, so it's been amazing. I made a mistake with it though. I kind of made it a little bit of a competition with myself. Like each day I wanted to hold my breath for longer, and one day I got a little out of whack and I think I almost fainted or something. And it didn't feel good. It felt really bad.
Yeah.
So now what I do is, it's not a competition. No matter what, I don't care how many seconds I've been holding my breath. When I feel that, I think of it as I'm there to connect with my body and the cues that it gives me to do certain things. So when I feel that strong urge in my chest to breathe, that's when I breathe. No matter what time it is, no matter what. And I don't think to myself, well, shit, I held it for 2 minutes yesterday. I couldn't even get a minute and 15 seconds today. That sucks. Well, that's not a big deal, right? And since I've been having that mindset about it, it's been nothing but positive, So, and then the cold showers are they hurt so bad, there's nothing, you can't get away from it. It's just tearing you up.
Yeah.
And it does every single time. You can't get used to ice water, basically.
No.
I'm sure Wim Hof, and he's been doing it for years and years and years. I'm sure he has by now, found a whole way to deal with it. And I'm sure that's obvious. For me, it's like I've been doing it for 3 months.
Yeah. We just did an episode with the people on holotropic breath work. I feel like that would be right up your alley. Although you have to do it in a group, which is tough. But it's basically trying to get to a psychedelic space with breath. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Wim Hof thing kind of does that if you do 5 rounds of it.
Have you had some trippy experiences from that? I really want to start doing it.
Every time I do it, I'm in a very euphoric, sort of lightheaded, super tingly, trembly space.
Mm-hmm.
My body trembles for probably about 10 minutes afterwards.
Wow.
And then you just feel awesome. Oh, and I haven't even started to get sick. When we went out on this last tour, we were on a bus all together, and everybody on the bus got sick twice, and I didn't get sick once.
Well, sobriety is probably helping that situation as well.
Well, Donovan's sober. Donovan's sober now.
No, is he? How long has that been going?
Yeah. I think he's sober on the road.
Right.
And that's kind of been that way for a little while with him.
Yeah.
I think he might go home and relax with a drink or something. But when he's on the road, he's all business, and he doesn't, but it's like, it's, so, and then everybody's diet suffers out on the road,
Yeah. Well, it's
there's some cities we go to, they're like, what's a smoothie? Like
yeah,
they're not drinking smoothies,
Yeah.
It's like there's barbecue and then there's barbecue chicken.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to have?
yeah.
Oh, God.
But, yeah, man.
Oh, man.
So anyways, yeah, so that's, so I don't know if that's back to what you were saying. I don't know if that's a hack, but like, it definitely gets me into a place to where like nothing I'm going to go do is going to be anywhere as hard as what I just did.
Yeah.
And for me, it works for some reason. And then I also get off on this weird thing where like, no matter who I'm hanging out with, I try to make sure that I did my best to work harder than them that day.
Dude, I so relate to you. I think we're like mentally both like fucked in the same way.
Yeah, dude.
I think it's like the I don't know. It's like something related to like bipolar and anxiety and OCD. Because
there's something clinical happening.
I don't know I don't know what your shit is, but like I think it's related to that because I feel like I'm the same way where I just put myself through these self-imposed challenges and like the harder it is, I'm like fucking bring it on.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a lot of the reason that I dip into all that weird diet stuff too. Not to mention, and I think when you said when you brought up the Groundhog's Day thing about being on the road, I think that's another reason why I'm always switching up my diets and stuff too, because something's got to be fucking different.
Yeah.
We play the same rooms to the same people for the most part,
and usually about the same set. So yeah.
Yeah, and usually about the same set, which is that's what it is. It's not like we haven't tried to change it up. It's like people want to hear what they want to hear.
Yeah.
It's become very, become very obvious to us over the years. So, yeah, dude. So I guess I've been doing that. And another thing too, you bring up the OCD thing. Since I've been sober, it's so weird because like when I was drinking all the time, I was kind of a slob. I mean, for sure. Like I let myself forget so many things about myself. So strange, dude. Like about a month into it, or maybe it was 45 days into it or something. I was sitting at my mom's house and we were sitting in front of the fire and just kind of talking. And then I got this really familiar feeling that kind of washed over me. And it was kind of like a stomach and chest sort of warmth.
Yeah.
And it was the feeling of home and security.
Yeah.
Is what it was. What I figured it out it was after it was on me for a couple seconds. And then I realized that I drank it away for 20 years.
Oh man.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah.
It is a thief, isn't it?
And I also remembered that I used to live for it when I was a kid. I lived for it. It's what made everything okay.
I feel like we like use it as a protective thing once, and then slowly you don't realize how far gone that all becomes. It's just like,
well, it becomes covered up. It's still there, but you just can't see it because it's covered, and you don't even remember it. So it's like it's so crazy, and there's been countless number of other type of things that have been happening to me, and I'm becoming the person that I used to be in a lot of ways. And I used to like these things about myself.
Man, yeah.
Well, I certainly make sense to see it.
Now you're not going to see a fucking mustard stain on anything. Shit's tight.
Shit is tight.
That shit's tight, dude. I got I've got deodorant on. I'm wearing some aftershave.
Man,
I
you're
shave.
Classy guy.
I'm going to get my hair cut.
Holy crap!
Are you manscaping?
No.
All right,
dude,
so
that's
a little out of control down below, huh?
I mean, dude, if I was to take my shirt off in front of you guys, you'd know why I wouldn't even bother. It's like, you know what I mean? Like I am definitely hairy as hell. Like, I'm not going to worry about it. I can't shave my own back, so I'm just not going to do it.
I like when you were. Well, we'll get off this topic in a second, but I definitely relate what you're saying to. Like you used to have these things about you that you took pride in, and then the substances kind of took you off of that. Now you're kind of returning home to that. And I feel like I relate to that. I feel like I'm closer now in ways, not in every way, but in some ways to who I was when I was a teenager or a kid. And I feel like using drugs over the years or alcohol, or kind of just letting your ego take over in a lot of ways, pulled me away from that. And now I'm like, on paper, I'm more boring than ever. And I love being home with my kids and with Chelsea and doing fun stuff. And like the idea of partying or being effed up and puking everywhere, that doesn't appeal to me like at all.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you on the being at home and hanging out with family and stuff, but man, I can't wait to not want to drink. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Even though I don't. Even though I do and I don't. It's like it's so weird.
No,
I do want to drink, but I don't just as much. It's
I don't know if that ever goes away completely, though. Like, you're suddenly just never, ever going to want to drink. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I'd like to think, and I really hope that eventually I'm just going to be able to take it or leave it, kind of a thing. Yeah. Like, it's not going to be something that I'm thinking about and talking about all the time. I don't want to talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Like I'm on a podcast with you guys about that's geared towards like creatives and stuff like that. And I've just talked about how I'm just doing my best to not drink.
It's a common struggle, man.
It's so relatable though, dude. This is the place to talk about it. I just feel like there's more. Right, that topic of like being able to create sober is you'd be surprised how often it comes up. It's really fascinating.
And not only that, but like the whole idea of being vulnerable and honest. That's that's such a core component to creativity.
It is. And if you don't know how to do it, like not wasted.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have a really, really tough go. I feel like you got to be in touch with your creative side, sober. You have to.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Grundy.
For me,
is there anything else? Anything else you want to cover? You want to chat about?
I've been that's kind of my whole trip.
That's awesome.
That's my whole trip lately.
What do you want people to get from your new album? Tell us briefly about what you're trying to do differently. You mentioned it's blues based, and you also mentioned that like blues has been done 1,000 times over. So what are you doing with this new album that's different?
Well, I'm not okay. So I think that the main thing that's going to be different about my stuff is it's a little bit unconventional blues, because I wasn't worried about keeping it into the genre 100%. Like there's one song that's kind of even more that's kind of a reggae feel to it, I guess. Okay. But it's just because that's what came naturally with it, and I didn't want to fight it, even though that's not really my thing. But like I just wanted to pay kind of homage to the tone, like the tones of the recordings, I guess, mostly. Like I wanted it to sound like, because I love the way those records sound, so organic and almost no processing. Almost no reverb except for on the voice. Like you listen to like some of these old Muddy Waters records and it's just dry, and then Muddy comes in and it sounds like a voice of God with all this verb just raw, and it's just like, yes, because there's all this room in the mix for it, because it's like nothing's competing with it,
Yeah.
And so I kind of had that in mind when I went into it, is I wanted it to be very raw and very unprocessed sounding. And then I also, the new blues stuff, like you won't find a new blues record in my collection. And it's not because those guys aren't good. I know a lot of those guys. I have nothing but respect for them. They all play. There's a lot of them. Some of the guitar players are just absolutely mind blowing, But I don't want to listen to somebody guitar solo for very long, even though I love it.
Yeah.
Like I'll go see some of these hitters play, and like I'm into it for the first couple songs, and then I've just had enough. And not that I'm not saying I'm right either. There's people that love it. People live for guitar. That's cool.
No, I feel the same. But I hate it when they keep
for me,
going.
It's like, on all these new blues records, there's a lot of guitar playing, and there's not a lot of song, really. And the lyrics are all just, come on. Like, it's still the same old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to write some lyrics that fit, but they were also different enough, and I feel like I did that. And then I wanted to capture the old style tones a little bit, and a lot of the room recording, and I feel like I did that too, especially in the amount of time I did it. And I did it in under 2 weeks, so pretty proud of it for that. And
That's
it's
awesome.
My first sober effort, which is another thing too. So stoked.
I know I have to re-listen with that in mind too. It's very different.
Yeah.
Well, I've always
you know,
that was where you and I always like cross paths, Grundy, is that you like a good poet when it comes to songwriting. And that's like Jay rarely hears the lyrics, whereas like that's kind of, I don't know. I think that's why I don't like the guitar solos, because I'm like, tell me your story. I want to hear what's going on.
Well, I've always felt that way about music too.
Yeah.
Even when I was a kid. And I think that's why I like blues so much, because when I was a kid, the story in blues was compelling enough.
Yes.
You know, because like you can say a lot about the blues, the vibe is heavy. The playing is incredible, even from the old stuff that I listen to all the time. But rarely are you going to come across a lyrical work that's just like, man, that took me somewhere. You know?
Yeah.
It's very rare. So I feel like that's just what's missing. And I don't know, as long as I just feel like I'm in a place where I know a lot about the genre, and I deeply love it, like more than any other music.
Yeah.
So, and I have a studio and I can write songs. So maybe I should try to do,
yeah, it's like, it's your first language.
Just try to reinvent it a little bit. Just give a little different take on it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's what I was thinking. And as long as, you know, that it's not going to sell really anyways, because nobody's buying anything. It's like, might as well just do what I wanted in a way. But in another way, I also made sure I didn't get too weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that makes it weird. Performing friendly. So you get to open for Donavon because it's friendly enough for people to relate.
Yeah, man, that's so bitching of him to let me do that. That's just like, man, so huge, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's another thing that's crazy about the music business now is like, even the opening slots are going to go away to openers that have money to pay the artist.
I know, isn't that just insane? It's like such a weird world. I don't know. It's taking a lot away from that performance side, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there paying to open shows. God. A lot.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have one last question because I have to ask it, and I'm interested because I don't actually know a lot about this part of your life. But if I have to drop you back in your childhood kitchen, what is your first thought?
My childhood kitchen?
Yeah.
Oh, the first thing that came to my mind is my mom's spaghetti sauce, which is just crusher.
Amazing. And did you call it sauce or did you call it gravy?
Sauce, definitely.
Yeah, I'm a sauce girl too.
I don't think he's Italian.
Yeah.
I know, but people's families fall into that.
Italians call it gravy?
Yeah, it's very Northeast. Yeah, got a lot of gravy.
What? Yeah.
Oh man.
I know.
You learned something today.
No, okay. There it is. That's my lesson for the day.
It's mozzarella and it's gravy.
Gravy, yeah.
Mozzarella and gravy.
And they eat their salad last. Salad is
they don't have real gravy over there, I don't think, on anything. So if they knew what real gravy was, they might change their mind.
Okay.
Words to Live by Matt Grundy.
That could be my quote that you guys post.
Yes, there you go.
So let's give some shout outs to you and your new album. What kind of give yourself some plugs here where people can find you and what you're promoting.
Spotify, iTunes, and all the other ones that nobody ever goes to. I'm on. Matt Grundy, the EP is called Pinion Hills EP.
Awesome. And
so that's where I live for the moment. And check it out. And there's also, I'll plug Gravel Ghost too, the record I made with Rhonda. It's called Gravel Ghost, and you can find that on the same things.
So good.
What else? I'm gearing up this summer. I'm going to do that push-up thing again, but I'm going to go even gnarlier with it.
Okay.
I don't know why I'd plug that, but
check out Matt's Instagram.
His Insta stories.
Yeah,
amazing.
check out my Instagram. Well, I was thinking about maybe Rhonda had an idea about trying to do it for charity, like see if I could get like pledges, you know, and then go for some insane number, and then if I do it, I can hook some charity up, which would be so cool.
So you guys gotta follow at Grundy Matt. Why is it not Matt Grundy? Is there another one?
Because there was another one. Can you believe that? I was so pissed. Yeah. There's this other Matt Grundy out there somewhere that always wipes up all my good shit before I can get to it.
Oh my gosh.
All right, dude. This was awesome. I knew it would be.
Yeah,
I love our conversations.
I know you're the best. Thank you, Grundy. Stay on the line.
I'm glad. I feel all special that somebody wanted me to be on a podcast.
Oh, shut up.
Come on. We love talking to you,
We've been trying to get you on here for 3 months.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I'm a podcast junkie, and I always wanted to be on one. So I'm like, I'm stoked.
Is this
I'm
your
happy,
first
guys.
one?
Thank you.
Are we your virgin?
It is.
podcast?
You're not the first one that I've been asked to be on, but you're the first one that I've ever.
Oh, all right.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
You're the second one I've been asked to be on. So.
Okay.
Well, I'm kind of like, I'm like, as your friend, I'm somewhat insulted that you called yourself like less than overly intelligent, because like watching you play, I think you underestimate the types of intelligence that it takes to put together the patterns and the, all the different chord formations and all the timing and everything you do is a type of intelligence that just kind of blows me away.
Well, thanks, dude. Yeah, I mean, I just, you know what? I feel like I guess what I mean by that is like we're in the information age, right? So I don't feel like there's anything wrong with me per se, but like we all have access to just this unbelievable information, and it has actually humbled me in my little place, I think is what it is more than anything,
Yeah.
So
we realize
cool.
how small we are with all that information out there. That's for
yeah.
sure.
No, we
And then I
realize
can
how
also go on
small we are
YouTube and
next to
find
Matt.
yeah. Well, I can also go on YouTube and find like 4-year-old kids that play guitar as well. So it's like that's another humbling thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they got 20 times the views or more, 1,000,000 times the views. So it's like we're in a weird age, dude.
You got to teach Juniper how to play guitar really fast.
Get her to it. I know.
I think she's gonna sing. She loves songs.
Okay,
She likes singing. So I think that's
like
what's gonna happen
Mama.
with her.
Okay.
It's like Mama. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
Man. Well, dude, thank you, brother.
Thank you guys, man. Super fun.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. Grundy.
Could we love Grundy any more than we do?
I know.
The big teddy bear.
I know. Well, it's funny because in this one we got to just like get right to it. There's no like fluff because we know him very well, and we're excited about this new sobriety chapter. That's for sure.
Yes, I always love the different phases of Grundy.
I know we've been through like veganism, yoga,
Tinctures,
push-ups,
yes.
protein powders.
Yes, I forgot about that one.
Went through a lot.
Drinking, not drinking.
Drinking, not drinking. Beer, no whiskey. Whiskey, no beer.
I was just trying to being quiet. I was trying to think if there was different facial hair variations, but I really can't think of too many.
You're looking good, Grundy. You really are. We're so proud of you. Looking good, feeling good.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was just great hearing him talk as unfiltered as he was. I know he texted me after making sure that he sounded okay, which is so Matt. But it was everyone has their stuff, and one of the great things that we love about Matt is just how real he is, especially in an industry that's so focused on ego and vision and superficial stuff. Matt just puts it out there and is who he is.
I know he does. And I also love that I think, and this comes with the sobriety, he's much more like positive when he's not drinking a lot. Like he has that side of him that can get negative, and you seem so positive right now, Grundy.
Love that.
But the music is amazing. I feel like that's the part I'm really like excited about, is that he's coming out with all this new solo stuff, which we've been pushing him to do for a decade.
I can't wait to hear it. Just to hear like the sober music too. That was a really cool part of the conversation for me, is to talk about creative process and how the lack of chemical push doesn't take away from the creative process, because that is something a lot of people kind of deal with, like being yourself in a creative realm without any kind of influence of any sort.
I know. It's funny to me because it's not like I can like drink before I go to a birth, and that's my creative outlet.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I'm sure there's the doulas out there that are smoking a joint before they go and be doulas.
Well,
but
yeah, perhaps. I loved how I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something so interesting. I'll just go with this though.
Yes.
I love how he talked about commitment, because that was something that Matt and I got on one of our long tangents about, and it's so good for musicians and artists to hear that a commitment to your craft above everything else is really the center of all this. It's the success and everything else that could come after is almost like a side effect of just putting in the work.
I know he also comes down to just seeing his story and, just being selfish and correlating it with my own. And you come back to that, like once you have kids, you realize you really only can pick like 3 things to be top priority. So you really do have to start like letting things drop away. And I feel like that was when we really stopped partying and drinking and doing a lot of that stuff, because we found the priorities couldn't be in the right place when we were being taken over by hangovers and crabby food.
I don't miss that shit at all.
I know, I don't either.
And Matt's a dad now. That's just Awesome.
I know. It's so cool.
Cutest little
I
peanut.
know we didn't talk about Rhonda enough, which she totally deserves some street cred. Listen to
For
their
real.
first album
Oh my
together,
God.
which is just, she's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Her voice
Rhonda,
is
you are
phenomenal.
so talented.
No,
Definitely.
and plus she's like put up with Grundy this long, so how amazing is that? I remember the first mention of Rhonda way back in the day, and we were like, oh, this one sounds like she's sticking around. We're so happy to have her around.
Well, we hope you guys liked getting to know our friend Mac Grundy, because he is just a powerhouse of talent and just an authentic human being that we love.
I know we didn't even get to like talk about his dad and the harmonica stuff either, but jump in and listen whenever you're listening to Donovan. Any of those backtracks of harmonica and all that stuff is Grundy. And next time you see Donovan on the road, you'll know who his, front hand man is.
Well, all right, guys, we hope you loved that one. We'll have another one next week. And yeah.
Thanks, guys. We hope you loved that episode. If you did love it and could give us some love on iTunes, that would be amazing. You can leave a review, and we will give you a shout out at some point on this podcast.
Also, if you guys can follow us on social media, we would love to hear from you. We are on pretty much every social media platform at Shifting Perceptions Podcast, which is the same as our website, shiftingperceptionspodcast.com. We look and reply to all comments, so please share with your friends, tag us. We appreciate all the love.
And don't forget that all of our guests also see all these comments, so I'm sure if you want to just have a space you can reach out, these are the places to do it. We also want to give some love to our amazing photographer that has done all of our photos so far,
Kevin Rigby.
His website is wavelightstudio.com.
And also our really good friend, John Harvey, who did the music for our podcast. You can find him at Instagram at Harvey Wallbanger. So that's our little rolling credits. We will be back next week.